Welcome to 1822 MC Adventures and More. We've had a lot of rain lately, so what did I do? Took a little ride on out into the forest, did some ditch fishing, and I got me some bullheads. What I'm going to cook up right now is some blackened bullheads. What do you think? You want some? Hang around, I'm fixing to cook them up. Alright, so what I did was I got me some bullheads that were around 10 inches long. Nice small fatties because they're ditch bullheads. And I mixed up some flour with black pepper, crushed red pepper, cayenne pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and smoked paprika, and a little bit of hickory smoked sea salt. I don't really think anybody out there wanted to watch me kill and clean these things, so I've got them all breaded up. They're ready to go into the pan, so let's see what happens here. Yeah, I guess the whole trick is to make sure you got some good hot grease, right? And of course you got to have a cast iron skillet. Yep, it's a Griswold, one of Grandma's. Forgive me, Grandma, but I took your frying pan out into the woods, right? Alright, so it looks like we're making some progress here. It's definitely getting nice and seriously golden brown. Yeah, one of the things I did when I was cleaning them, I actually took the time to trim what little bit of fat these things had on them. They might be small bullheads, but they're fat bullheads. And you know, you trim that little bit of yellow fat off the meat, and then they taste so much better. Matter of fact, I believe I'm gonna get these little jokers out of here. For those of you who don't know, when you're frying, always leave something in there so the grease don't get super hot when you put your next piece in there. Yeah, I'd love to show you guys where I caught these things, but some jackass has decided to use that little turnoff for a dumpster, so the place was full of trash. I still just don't understand why someone has to come all the damn way out here to dump their garbage when there's plenty of places you can legitimately dump your garbage. You do not have to come out here. I mean, to me, that's just the sign of one sorry son of a bitch. Whoa. Almost had a catastrophe there. Yeah, this looks good. You know, and what's really a shame is back in the early 90s when I first moved down here, all the ditches out here in the Croatan Forest were clean and deep. And then the past few presidents, especially the Big O, cut funding to the National Forest. So what happens when they start cutting the funding? Well, all the stuff that we all take for granted, all of a sudden it's not happening no more. So nowadays most of these ditches, they've grown over, full of logs and crap, and that's why it floods out here every time it rains or we have a hurricane. It never used to do that. But thank you, President Obama, and thank you, President Bush, and let's not leave out Slick Willie. Slick Willie had his fingers in that too, so the last 3 presidents definitely screwed us around with our national forest and our rights to be out here and the funding and all that good stuff. All right, Fried fresh bullheads. Outstanding. This is awesome. Y'all have no idea what you're missing out on. Man, this is good. These things were flopping around in the water 20 minutes ago. You're not going to get fish any fresher than this. And the tail, right? You gotta forgive me here. I'm gonna eat like a pig. A real funny story. A long time ago, I was probably about 6 years old. I'm down in Iowa visiting my cousins. So what do you do when you're in Iowa? Well, of course you go fishing for bullheads, right? I think that's the local pastime in the state of Iowa, is catching bullheads. So me and my cousin, we go down to the pond that's in the cemetery and we catch a whole mess of bullheads. We bring them back home and our moms cook them up for us. And lo and behold, what do? I get a rib bone caught in the back of my throat, down in my tonsil. And of course, back in those days, what they tell you to do when you got a fish bone stuck in your tonsil? Eat a piece of bread and drag it on out, right? Well, I ate about a half a loaf of bread. And I'm a little kid at that time. Nothing. So anyways, we go home, back to Minnesota. All the way home, I'm trying to eat bread and pull that damn thing out and everything. It won't come out. So finally, we get back to Minnesota. And my mom takes me to the emergency room. And this probably wouldn't fly this day and age, but back then, my mom swears up and down she was on a first name basis with all the nurses in the emergency room at St. Mary's Hospital. Not that I was a dumbass, but I was always doing something where I was getting hurt, getting a damn nail in my foot or a splinter, something. Anyways, so I go in there, fish bone in the throat. This young hotshot doctor comes in there, I guess the on-call emergency room doctor. I tell him what happened. I'm like, yeah, me and my cousin, we fishing, we catch a bullhead and I eat him, I got a bone in my throat. And he looks down in there and he's like, oh my God, I'm not even gonna try. So I'm like, oh shit, you know. And so he goes and gets this other doctor that's a little bit older than him. He was old to me, but you know, he was probably in his 40s. And he comes in there and he's like, huh, okay. So he goes in there and he tries a couple of times and he's like digging and gouging down in my throat and I'm gagging like I got a giant. I'll stop right there. He's digging and gouging in my throat, trying to get this fish bone out, and he tries about 3 times and he's like, man, I ain't never seen nothing like this. Let me go get someone else. Let me go get Dr. So-and-so. I don't remember, I was a little kid. So then this old guy that's like grandpa old, right? He comes in there and he's like, how you doing, young man? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. I got a fish bone in my mouth, blah, 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 blah. And he's talking about fishing and we's talking for a couple of minutes. And the whole time he's getting ready, he's telling the nurse to do this, that, and the other thing. And then he sprays something in my mouth, numbs up my tonsils, I guess, a little bit. And he grabs like this big, long forceps thing. And he's like, yeah, well, and his hand's shaking. The whole time he's going in there, my eyes are probably about like that now. And he's going in there and then just bloop, pulls it right out. Just like that, like he does it every day. But I could not believe that. I had a fish bone in my tonsil for probably a good 8 hours. Probably ate about a dozen loaves of Wonder Bread trying to drag that damn thing out of my throat. It never would go. And it took 3 doctors to actually get it out. The first one wouldn't even try. Second one, he gave it a shot, but he couldn't do it. So then the old guy comes out and he looks at it and he's just like, no big deal, just another day in the emergency room. Yanks it right out like it's nothing. Great bedside manner back in the day. No fear, nothing. I mean, he was just an old guy. It was kind of scary though when I seen this old man's wrinkly old shaky hand coming down my throat. Get it? I guess he needed to do that to get his rhythm going, to get in there and sight it in and boom, grab it and pull it out. But pretty traumatic for me back in the day. So I guess the moral of the story is, first off, eat your fish carefully. Make sure you ain't got no bones in the meat. And then oh my God. How about this? Here we go. Just made me think of the story of the old bull and the young bull. Okay, so up on the hilltop, there's this big old bull, and he's sitting up on top of the hill, and he's just kind of munching on his grass and looking down in the valley at all the cows and just enjoying life. And there's this little young bull up there with him, and he's kind of getting itchy, and he's bouncing around and prancing around. He comes over to the big bull, and he says, "Hey man," he says, "what do you say we run down the hill, jump over the fence, and bang us a cow? What do you think? What do you think? You want to do it? Let's go, man. Let's run down this hill and get us one." The old bull kind of looks up at the young bull, and he says, "What do you say we walk down there, go through the gate, bang them all?" And that, folks, is why old guys rule. Yeah, let's walk down the hill, go through the gate, versus run down the hill like a young dumbass and jump over the fence and waste all your energy, right? Story of the old bull and the young bull. With a deep fried in a cast iron skillet bullhead. And you can believe that ever since that happened to me as a little kid, I have been very picky about eating my fish. I would never want to go through that again. Sorry, I'm in the woods, so it's okay to eat with your fingers when you're in the woods. Yeah, this is really good. I'll be doing this again. Maybe the next time I do it, I'll actually show you how to clean the fish and whatnot. Anybody else like the fins? Not a Mickey fin, a fried fish fin. All right. That was a mighty good lunch. Now I should eat my fruit and everything else with it, but I'm going to save that for later on today. I'm going to go ahead and clean my mess up. And today's fish was in fact fried on a Griswold. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not. It is a mighty old pan. It's seasoned. It's better than Teflon. And I cooked on this stove here is a GSI. I bought it because of the heat rating. This thing is rated at, I believe it was 9,000 or 10,000 BTU. About the same as a Coleman, old school with the big green tanks, but a lot more compact. Normally, you know, I'll use my little S-Bot stoves and alcohol stoves, but I'm not about to try to fry fish on an alcohol stove. I'm pretty sure that would not end well. So let me get my junk cleaned up here real quick. No smart water bottles for me, old school canteen. Guess it's about time to clean up and wrap it up and ride on out of here. About concludes another episode of Saddlebag Lunch. Like I said, I would have loved to have showed you where I caught the fish, but some jackass decided to use it as a trash dump. So My once pristine bullhead hole is now a dump. Thanks, bud, whoever did that. What a jackass, right? I mean, just what a jackass. But anyways, before I get off on a rant, I'm going to pick up my mess, pack my bags, and get on out of here.